What is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. It is tier list time. And you know what that means? We're doing a tier list.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
I feel like it was pretty self-explanatory. I feel like I didn't need to explain that to you, but you guys were asking, so. Tier list. Quick one. Jungle tier list. Mostly assassins, some other roles mixed in, some mages, some warriors. No hunters. I don't think I put a single guardian in because I think most of the guardians are pretty bad in jungle right now. But we're doing the tier list A to T. There's no jungler under T. Starting with Ao Kuang. I think Ao Kuang is in a really mid spot right now. I think he's fine. He's a good early game execute god. I really think his positive is that he can get off to early leads with executing solos or supports. I think the hardest part about Ao Kuang is playing late game team fights a lot of the times because you just have no CC. You're reliant on your team starting fights. You're reliant on the enemy team kind of splitting up a little bit. So I don't think he's that great right now. Next up, Arachne. I am putting Arachne in A. Because now that SPL isn't a thing anymore, we can focus on the real Arachne. The ranked Arachne. And she is busted. This character is insanely strong. A tier easily. Good jungler. She has like the same kind of downsides as Ao Kuang when it comes to late game team fights. But she has the free get out of jail free card. Free get out of jail free card. She has the ultimate get out of jail free card with her ult. I hate saying the same word twice. But she does. It makes it very easy for her to get out of situations. And it makes it so she can kind of overcommit to fights when she needs to. And then just ult out if she also has to. Awilix, I think Awilix is in a fine enough spot. I think she is very one-dimensional because it's like, I want somebody to be knocked up so I can kill that one person, whether it's via ulting them in or just one-shotting them before they land and then knocking them up again or something like that. She just really only can do that. She can get out to leads, and if she does get a lead, she's very hard to deal with. But I don't think I can put her higher than B. Speaking of higher than B, Baka is not higher than B. This character sucks. I'm going to do D tier, actually, because that's how bad he is. Really not great items right now. His kit is pretty meh at best. There is very few positives with Baka. That's literally all I got. Basset, I actually think this character is incredible. Putting Basset in A tier, I think her current kit, especially with her cats, her 3 hit mark cats are OP. Nerf them.
No, I don't think I will.
Down to 2 or let them be hit by abilities because it is obnoxious in 1v1s how OP that cat is. And then on top of that, it's very hard to commit to her. She has CC pulling with her ultimate. She's just good. She's just good. Camazotz, more like Scamazotz because you're kind of scamming yourself if you pick this character. He's very skill shot reliant. He's pretty safe generally, but I don't think he does enough damage or enough to really warrant him being above B. He can farm okay. He's usually at full health, but he's meh. Kina, A tier. I think Kina's very strong right now in jungle. The 50 power on Soul Eater just kind of guarantees it as an item for her. I think literally every game you just go Jotun's Vigor into Soul Eater and it's just very hard to 1v1 you. You do a lot of damage. If you need anti-heal, you just go Brawlers later in the game. It's a very good spike. And if she gets off to a lead or she gets to late game, she is a menace. Daji. I'm doing it. Daji's S tier. I don't care anymore. I personally, I don't care anymore. This character, like, I complain a lot. Don't get me wrong. A lot. Most of my time alive speaking, I've used it to complain. So let me continue with some more complaining. This character is so lame. She is so lame. High damage, high mobility, safety, good 1v1 potential, beads pulling potential, CC immunity. I could keep going with how much strength she has. She used to be a bad early game character. Now she's sick early game. She used to be a dominant late game character. She's still dominant late game. Like, get me out. Daji is so dumb. Erlang, we'll put Erlang in A tier. I still think he's very strong. I think junglers currently, there's really no like S tier jungler in my opinion.
You sure about that?
I think they're all like pretty good. There's going to be very few characters in D and very few characters in S. A lot of it's going to be in A, B, C. I think Erlang is like that top of the A, but he's not quite into S tier. Very good in the early game. Is a good 1v1 character late game and can pull relics. There's a lot of positives with him. Vener isn't feeling too great right now. He's not feeling terrible by any means, but he doesn't feel great. The speed up on his 3 helped him for a bit. I think he's kind of just, let's be honest. He has been not very great since they nerfed him out of support because he's not a good jungler now. He's a bad support. He doesn't really play solo. He really has no strengths currently, but is he bad at anything? Not really. I think he's fine at everything. Gilg will put in C tier. Yeah, I'm just not impressed with Gilg. Is he a decent utility god, decent semi-tank, does good damage? Absolutely. But is he anything that special? No, not really. Hunbatz. I think Hunbatz is good. I think the biggest change for Hunbatz is Bobble. He is very hard to chase, very hard to fight, and very hard to just team fight against with Bobble, because he has so many abilities, and he just has so much like damage, and his ultimate being a beads puller, and now it's going to be up even faster. Feels very, very good for Hunbatz. Kali's not very good. Bad early, bad mid game. I'll give her okay late game. Like, she'll still shred absolutely. But a lot of times she's fighting into Horrific, or fighting into Shell, or fighting into Midgard, or fighting into Relic Dagger, the anti-auto attack one, or into a bunch of CC, or into... Blah, blah, blah. I'll keep yada. If she does get ahead, and the enemy team is behind, she is difficult to deal with. But that's basically the only scenario. I've been convinced... I hate this character, but he's an A-tier character. I have played against this character a lot now, and every single game, it feels like he's doing more damage than I expect, and he is hard to 1v1 because of how big his shield gets. He's good early game, not great, but he's very good mid game, and he's very good late game. It just kind of comes down to, can you get your ult off in the late game? If you can, sick, you're probably winning the team fight. If you can't, team probably lost the team fight. So he's a little risky, but I still think he's an A-tier character. Again, I'm doing it. Loki's S-tier. Boombas and just his base kit. I don't even think, including Bobble, I do think Bobble is something that makes him a lot stronger. But with just Boombas, or with just Bluestone in that solo lane variety, or the mid lane variety, where you go Bluestone, full cooldown with Bobble, and you just poke with Bluestone, this character is so hard to deal with. He's very sneaky, very hard to track. Does way too much damage, and he's got so much safety in just his one, and then he also has a in-combat blink where he can go over walls, and it's a lot of the time you can't even chase him. I think Loki's incredible. I think he's very hard to counter. He's so good. Mon! After the nerf, she's terrible. I talk about it a lot, where I think her and, like, Baka got nerfed and got gutted before they were really even able to play the game. She just doesn't do enough damage. She's like Aokwang, except... it's harder for her to get off early game. What? And late game team fights, she's just as bad in. Like, what's the upside of playing her? There's not really one. Mercury, I'm going to put him in A tier. He is just a very good character into Horrific. There's very few characters that, like, the enemy team builds Horrific, and you're like, dang, they built Horrific. Or you're like, dang, I don't care they bought Horrific. Mercury's one of them. Because for the most part, he just wants to one-shot you. So he's not standing there and just autoing you down. He just wants to one-shot you and then get out. If he gets Horrific, he just pops to and he walks away. If he ults through and ones you, or autos you and then ones you, you're not able to get your Horrific off in time. So it's a tough character to play, and I'm not a massive fan of playing against him as support. He's very hard to peel. Naja, I would almost move Naja down to C tier. It's just a kind of the same like thing as Fenrir, where a lot of his damage has just been gutted. His 3 got a little bit of a buff, but his early ultimate is so weak. It's basically just a setup ability. And then late game, a lot of times you're setting up yourself and the enemy guy for death. So it's like usually a trade. Yeah. That's how I feel about Naja. Yeah. Nem, B. She has so many cooldowns. She does a whole lot of damage. She just has no CC immunity, and she has no CC. That's not something you really want in ranked. Is she still a very good 1v1 character? Absolutely. But do I think she belongs in like the A tier with all these characters? No, not really. And I wasn't going to do another S tier character, but just because of how broken Odin is right now, I'm putting him in S tier. I don't care. Pick Odin, max your 3, win the game, profit. It's so easy. It's so broken. It's so hard to play against this character. It's S tier. It's not even funny. Osiris, C tier. I've had games where I start like 10-1 with Osiris, and then it gets to mid game, and I end the game 10-10. And it's like dominating. It's just too hard to snowball, man. If you could snowball the game, I would move Osiris higher. But you cannot snowball the game with just damage. Like, you can snowball the game with, like, CC and damage, where, like, Erlang is kind of, like, the same thing early game, but he scales better into the late game. Erlang also has setup. So you can kind of, like, bait objectives or kill somebody who's walking in. Cyrus really doesn't have that. So, C tier, or quick CC is a better way to say it. Mr. Nutman. I'm not a fan of Mr. Nutman right now. We'll do B tier. I think it'd be a little disrespectful to put him in C tier. Just meh. He's got a few nerfs to his stun acorn. Yes, they buffed his crit acorn, and I think they buffed the heal acorn also. The green heal acorn. It's just a lot of the time, other characters do it. Like, Thor currently is just a better rat. I'm probably putting him in the same tier after... Actually, let's just do Thor also. I'm doing him in the same tier, but this is like B+ for Thor, B- for Rat. It is not too close, but it's close enough where I don't want to put Thor in A and I don't want to put Rat in C. So we're putting them both in B, but Thor is better. Even though he had the hammer nerf where now it's a 2-second longer cooldown, it's not killing him for sure. Poseidon, D tier. And where's Hebo where I'm at it? D tier. These characters are so bad. Mages are so bad why would you not want Conduit? You are as fast as a jungler with Gemma Focus in mid lane. Why play him in jungle when you get worse item? Don't want worse item. Want better item. Play mid. Robin, I think Robin's fine. Good damage, good safety, mediocre CC, just all around an average character. I think the pinnacle of balanced and the pinnacle of average for assassins is Robin. Serket stinks. It's funny that like all the support assassins that became supports and now they've been gutted are now just not very good. She's very good early game. She gets off to a lead. If she falls behind, obviously she's gonna be bad. Late game, meh. I don't think she's terrible, but there's just so many better gods to be playing than Serket. Set, terrible in the jungle. I would not want this god on my team. You couldn't pay me. Unless the name is Autospeed, don't play Set jungle. Don't play Set jungle. He's too hard to play. His damage is meh at best. No CC. Damage is meh also. If you get off to a lead, sure, you can be very strong. You'd be very hard to deal with, but it's just not worth it. The King of Lame, raise your hand if you're a Susano player. If you raised your hand, fuck you. Susano, A tier. Just, I don't know, remove the character. This god has too much damage, too much CC, too much movement speed, or too much movement abilities, and it is just infuriating playing against this character. The one thing he doesn't have is CC immunity, but if it's really that bad, he can just go Magi's, and then it's just, like, so stupid. I really think his ult should do a lot less damage or it should do a lot less CCing. They could even buff the damage a tiny bit. I'd be fine with that, but just no CC on the ult. It's, you know, thumbs up if you agree. And comment in the comment if you hate Susano too. If you could remove any jungler from the game and his name is Susano, comment which jungler you want to be removed. It better be Susano. Thanatos. He's eaten a couple nerfs, but I still think he's a very good character. Execute's always going to be good. He scales well. He's very good early game. Very few downsides. I guess the only downside is he doesn't have quick instant CC. He has to go into the air first, but I'm not holding it against him. He's still very good. And then lastly, Tsukuyomi. Another balanced character. Kind of the mage assassin almost, where he's like a poke character, but he has good all-in also. Just be smart with your ult, and a lot of the times you'll be able to carry a lot of fights or a lot of games with Tsukuyomi. It's just no CC out of a jungle. Feels a little weird sometimes, but I'm not going to knock him too far down. He's a solid B tier character. And that's it. That is the tier list for junglers currently. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below if I missed on anything. Comment down below also if you hate Susano, so I can like it. I'll heart it too. If you guys comment that you hate Susano, I will heart it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.